Good afternoon. I just thought I had a few more pearls of wisdom. Is there a problem with people liking animals more than humans? Would half your congregation storm out if you ever did a sermon totally about this, not just mentioning it in passing, because we have a pastor that mentioned this in passing. I have a friend who likes a certain type of animal more than he likes people. I don't know why you would have a friend if you're a pastor that likes animal more than he likes people. It's not like you're just a newbie or a rookie. I mean, you've been doing this for decades. Aren't you a little bit more discerning with regard to whom you choose as your friends or whom you allow to be your friends? Well, but he's got money and it don't matter. He donates a lot. And so I don't really confront him personally. All I do is just make these offhand comments from the pulpit. I don't know. His accent isn't like that. I just was using a random accent again. Women are seen as being too hysterical. She just, blah, blah, she'll settle down. What if the woman doesn't settle down? What if there's a reason you should be listening to your wife? Some wives just shut down after the husband doesn't listen to them. I've seen it amongst certain older people in my life, let's just say it, and not just my parents. I've seen people just turn cold because they're not respected, they're not listened to. Yes, I guess I am talking about women. Oh my. Now, doesn't St. Paul say something about worshiping the creation rather than the creator? Who is to be praised forever and ever, amen. There is a segment of, may I say, Christian society that seems to esteem the welfare of animals above the welfare of human beings. You know these people, right? Maybe your parents kind of like, you just have to love animals. Like, my dad was a dog lover and my mom was a cat lover. And, the emotional neglect that I suffered, is just incredible. And yet, my mom was just like, I really care about these dogs. You have to let them out every night and make sure they can run around. There's a neighbor, we're made in the image of God. Didn't Jesus say, how can you say you love God whom you have not seen? And you don't love your neighbor whom you have seen. And we're made in the image of God. That's not to put animals down. And nobody says you should mistreat animals. A righteous person has compassion on their animals. Proverbs says that, I believe. Well, human beings, who is the one who gets the most attention? Unfortunately, children can get the wrong kind of attention. Like older people, you're just so great. When you were younger, were you just loved? Oh, she's just so pretty. She's so beautiful. And like you have older creepy relatives that would be a little bit too affectionate toward you. I mean, if that's where it stopped, good for you. I think that's where it stopped for me, quite honestly. But once you aren't that adorable little puppy anymore, they're like, whatever. Life's hard for all of us. Some people mean well, but some people have spouses who are extremely controlling, I think. You would be very envious if they showed you love or compassion or anything like that. And some of these so-called Christian people have parents. They're adults, and they have adult parents that are just, they sent something, the wires got crossed, you know? In the whole human compassion thing, somehow their human compassion became short-circuited. And not naming names. These are the sorts of people that can feel very indignant about, oh, that's injustice. They don't, there's injustice right before your eyes, and it's happening to a human being. You know? I don't know if I want to have anything to do with that person. But, at the same time, folks, I have to be honest with you. Have you ever encountered somebody that really wanted something from you that you weren't comfortable giving to them? But the thing is, they're not a member of your family. Wouldn't you think that if they're a member of your family, you would have some loyalty? At least my father used to talk about, oh, just keep it in the family. Don't tell about, all the arguments and discord in the family. You just keep it in the family. You don't tell anybody. So I didn't. But what if this happened to me? It was an odd experience that I had several years ago. Well, maybe a decade or so ago. I was just in a checkout line, and this random older lady said, my husband's mean, he's abusive, he just does nothing but call me mean names all day long. See, that's the thing. That's the thing we can put our finger on if the person is calling you mean names all day long. Then society would say, well, that's abusive. What if the person is emotionally neglectful and callow? I'm not saying, well, that's reason just cut that person out of your life. No, divorce isn't the solution. What about a little bit more guidance from the pulpit? I think the preachers are not guiding us very well. I watched 3 sermons a day on TCT. One from Les Feldick, one from Creflo Dollar, one from Joseph Prince. Why are people paying so much money to these people and yet society isn't improving? I'm not saying I'm going to stop donating. I'm mad because your preaching isn't working. No, I don't mean that. But, there is an Irish element to me genetically. And so I'll start talking like an Irish person sometimes. Now, didn't I hear somebody say, just a very, of course I did play Annie O'Sullivan in The Miracle Worker. Won an award for that as an undergrad. So sometimes you're forced to sit in a group and you hear people with disparate viewpoints and disparate perspectives. Now, disparate is not the same as desperate. Please look up the difference between disparate and desperate. There is a difference. And I think maybe I had made some sort of comment like, I really love God, and I know God loves me, and I know the Bible is the answer. And heretofore, the person hadn't really been hostile toward me, and I don't think they were directing their comment toward me. But they said, well, my parents went to church, and the people were so judgmental, and all they would talk about is hellfire. That's why I don't like Christianity. It's like, This is just a white guy, so it's like, I'm not offended. It's like, oh, why is it that adults have so much trouble becoming friends? Because I can tell you why, because my mother always said because. She wasn't from New York, but she was from Cleveland. She said because. You have to say because. Or you a hick or a hillbilly. But that's beside the point. If people didn't always have if they were not conditioned to have a sexual motive on their mind, wouldn't it be easier for people to make friends? So, I've said this before. Wasn't it nice when you were a little kid and you could just make friends with other kids? I hope you remember that. It's really sad if you don't. But there would be, there'd be like sweet little things like, oh, he's got to be my boyfriend. I had a boyfriend in first grade, first part of first grade. That's puppy love. But when your mind becomes corrupted by this overwhelming over sexualization that we're experiencing in the culture, I tell you, I will watch certain preachers and I have to look away because I don't want to be lusting after them. I don't want God to think, well, I just am romantically attracted to them. No, I want to listen to them. And I have to say, I'm going to say this. Some pastors try to be sexy. I've said it before, so I don't want to repeat it because it seems as if somebody did hear my message and they realized maybe even as a man, I need to dress more modestly. If a woman has cleavage popping out and she's a pastor, everybody's going to criticize her, but what if a man as a minister dresses seductively? And I'm not saying that Les Feldick or Joseph Prince or Creflo Dollar do that. I don't think they do, so I was not referring to them. I want to be clear on that. That's how I keep all these people coming into the church because I'm so sexy. I'm not saying the gospel can't be sexy in an intellectual way, but it's not supposed to be sexy in a carnal way. Do you understand? Is it my fault? Again, oh, you're just feeling sorry for yourself. But an odd thing. A lady that wanted to be my friend asked me, and she's not the only one. I mean, she's, precious and few are you too. Well, is that relationship really working? Are you really committed to that person? Yes, because I believe in marriage. Oh, thank you for telling me that. Well, I just wanted to know. You missed out on the fact that I just wanted to be a friend, right? And so I really think that's why so many people get into promiscuous predicaments in our culture. All I wanted was a friend, a confidant. I realize some people will lie and say, well, I'm not really married or our marriage. I believe in the concept of marriage. I believe that it's a rock solid thing. Okay, you can say, well, the Ten Commandments. It's a little disturbing when somebody says, you broke all the 10 Commandments. Does that mean like murdering somebody? And when somebody says, well, you watch TikTok, you covet things, and so we're all guilty. Listen, I don't covet anymore. I think I've trained my mind. We're supposed to be transformed by the renewal of our mind. I just don't covet. I think ever since I was a little girl, there are so many people that seem to have wealthier lifestyles than I. However, has God not been good to me? Has He not provided for me? Sometimes I think even ministers can be covetous. Well, I'm sorry to bring it up, but this was earlier on in the series. Les Feldick said, well, there's this minister that brings in $1 million a day. Are you coveting? Are you coveting that? Because how much of that money is actually going to helping other people, supporting a ministry that's successful? No, I'm just envious. You can be a rock star, you can be a movie producer, and you can make millions and millions and billions of dollars, but you're not allowed to be a minister of the gospel. I think even ministers can be covetous, but nobody points it out because you know what? They don't listen to their wives. Listen to your wife. She's not stupid. Thank you for listening. Adios.